What is going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing my round 1 tips for the season 2023, and let's start off on Thursday night's match where we have Carlton taking on Richmond. Now I do see Carlton winning this by 5 goals or more, but I do see Richmond starting very high out of the blocks, trying to show that they're still in the premiership window when yet they are on a decline. Moving on to Friday night, we have got Geelong versus Collingwood. This is one of the 2 key games this week that I'm really keen to watch. I think these are going to be a blockbuster games, especially on Friday night. We have the reigning premiers going up against a team that I personally thought was good enough and should have been in that grand final instead of Sydney. I think maybe we would have had a sellout at 100,000 and then maybe, you know, a little bit more than that, but maybe we might have had a secondary team that actually rocked up to the ground and just didn't stay at home in New South Wales. Oh, and for those wondering, that isn't a Sydney flag, that is a North Adelaide flag. Okay, that is a Roosters flag, that's not a Swans flag. Yes, they're red and white, I know. Moving on to Saturday afternoon, the early game is going to be North Melbourne versus West Coast. West Coast is my pick. I don't think North Melbourne are going to be good enough. I think with Horne-Francis leaving and going to Ports, that leaves them very vulnerable at the half forward and midfield rotation. Obviously anyone can slot into that role with enough development, enough draft picks, but I think a 100% West Coast is going to be a lot better than 100% North Melbourne. Moving on to Saturday afternoon, we've got Port Adelaide versus Brisbane. Port Adelaide, I think that Brisbane are going to win this by 10 goals or more. Port had a shit preseason, and I think their list is aging really quickly. I don't think they have a real depth in their midfield anymore, especially with Robbie Gray leaving the half forward, like forward midfield role that he used to do with little spurts. I think they need to find someone else to do that. But Ollie Wines will always be a champion, but I do believe Brisbane are just going to be by 10 goals or more. That's going to be an easy win. Moving on to the second game of the week, and it's my game. It's the Demons game, the game that we will be watching here on the channel, so make sure you're in tune for a live stream. I think the D's are going to win this, but it's going to be close. I think 2 goals will be the max. If the D's can keep down the tall timber from the Doggies, they'll win. But if they can't, then yeah, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a great game either way. Demons by 2 goals. The other game of Saturday night is the Gold Coast Suns going up against the Sydney Swans. Now, I'm actually going to throw a spanner in the works here. I think I'm going to go to the Gold Coast Suns. One, it's at Metricon. Sorry, it's not even at Metricon. It's at HBS. I don't even know where HBS, but it's Gold Coast home game. And Gold Coast start really, really well each year, and then they fall off. We've seen it the last 3 or 4 years now. They're a team that's building towards something, and then they just run out of legs. So I expect Gold Coast to beat Sydney here by, I'm going to say 3 goals. Moving on, next is going to be the Giants versus the Crows. This one is at Giant Stadium. I'm going to say this right now. Crows by 5 or more goals. I think the Crows list and development over the last couple of years has been building to something that is being competitive, just not exactly being able to finish their games when they should. That loss against Collingwood, loss against Geelong at the start of the year. I think those close games, even Freo, the loss to Freo, games that they should have won, they're just not winning. But yeah, I don't think the Giants really have too much going for them right now. I would say they're actually in more of a rebuild stage than anything else. Moving on next to Hawthorn versus Essendon. This is an interesting game. I don't know which way to go, because Essendon will either be really good or really shit. And then you got Hawthorn, who will either be really good or really bang on average. So you sort of got 2 levels of teams here that are around the same caliber. So I'm going to say this is going to be under a goal, and I reckon we're going to be on the way of Hawthorn for this one. Moving on next to the last game of the weekend, it's St Kilda versus Freo. I'm going to say this now. I think St Kilda look pretty good in that midfield and up forward when they're firing. Freo are going to have to find something with Rory Lobb leaving. They need an extra tall timber forward. They're great around the ground with skills and everything like that. Nat 5 going forward, it's a great thing. I reckon that's been a couple of years in the making now. But I reckon St Kilda at home by less than a goal again. We're going to go 5 points on this one. Anyway, guys, that is my tips for round 1. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe down below, and give me your tips as well. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here because I need to have something to eat, and I'll see you guys in another video.